This is a big question we've had from a lot of our viewers, just how to align properly. You know, sometimes it's so easy to take it for granted and just, you know, work on the golf swing and talk about what's going to make you all hit it better. But let's talk about alignment now. So Kev, come back behind me here. If I'm going, let's get an alignment rod down. Parallel lines. You know, how many times I see my better players, all the time my better players, they look at their spot coming in and they get the face down and then they get their feet going to the spot also. You know, a railroad track is not going to look like this.
Right.
It's going to be like this, and it's headed in the same direction.
Right. I always say, look at aiming a golf club is just like shooting a rifle, right? Would you ever see anybody shoot a rifle like this? No, I don't think so. At least I wouldn't trust that guy. So if I shoot a rifle, I get my eyes on the line. Well, the only place you can do that is standing behind the golf ball. That's the only place you can do it.
Right here, Kev.
What's cool about this is when you think about it, Adam, this is the place where you put your lead hand on the golf club. So I'm looking at the target. I'm letting the club fall into my fingers. I hinge it up real quickly. You know, you can't see my eyes, but my eyes are shifting to the club face. I'm verifying that it's square, right? So now everything is square to me. I also like this. Here's another reason I like this, because I can take the golf club from here and then I bring it over to my center. Well, I use this phrase all the time, which we use, as you know, stand to the handle. What does that mean? The handle of the golf club is just pointed hair left to my center. It's not out here. The club is square and I'm standing at the handle. I've preset all that, right? And then what I'm doing is I'm looking at the leading edge, and literally if there's a flag or wherever I'm going, I'm making sure that the leading edge is right where I want the ball to go.
Love that.
Right? And then all I do is drop the shaft down where the shaft is literally hovering over the golf ball, parallel, right, to my target. And then all I have to do is I look down at the golf ball. I have that imaginary shaft running through the golf ball. I don't look up. You know, all I have to do is turn it right angles to that imaginary shaft. Then I can step into the shot, right? And we'll talk about posture next, but that's the process of alignment. If you're practicing, put some sticks down as a double kind of checkpoint, but never hit a golf ball rake and whack, right?
Rake and whack. Never let me do it.
Rake and whack. Always one ball, one time, one target, one routine, right?
Boom.
Every time.
Okay, so I walk in. Okay, I'm here now. I bring this up. Okay. Now, for me, one of the things that I like, I've always been big on, I like to be a certain distance behind the golf ball because I like to take a certain amount of steps in. Now, I don't like I like just a couple simple steps in.
You've always been 3, right?
Always 3.
Yeah.
Always 3. 1, 2, 3. Like 3, I'm turning into it. But one thing I like to do, what Todd always, you know, what helped me with was we talked about the rifle. I don't like walking off my line and then addressing it from the side. I really like to stay. I like to stay right on my line as long as possible. That always helped me. So my head, and it's funny enough, it actually helped me get into the right setup as well. You know, it's the same thing I do in putting. I'm here and I'm walking in and my head still stays on that line and I'm just walking and getting my feet into position to where I'm always used to, which is where I'm on the balls of my feet and over the golf ball, playing golf under me versus sitting back and playing around me.
Look at Adam's attention to his line. So many amateurs I'll see, even if they step behind it, before they step forward, they look up and they're looking out there and they lose their line. Well, you just turn a little bit and all of a sudden you're 50 yards right and you're screwed.
That's what happens.
So really being able to stay on your line, you know, I call it a shadow line when I sit that club over the golf ball and just leave it there a few seconds, right? I can still see a shadow of that line as I finally turn it right angles and make sure the club face is square to it, right?
So when I was a young professional, Chris Riley would play with me a little bit, and I was the head coach over at USD. I watched Chris putt. Chris was one of the best putters statistically for a while, all time, right? I mean, and one thing he did so well, I put this alignment rod behind here. He would literally keep his eyes on that line the entire time as he walked in. I got that routine. I mean, Todd, it made perfect sense. Todd sitting there talking to me about this, and you know, we're not going to align like this, you know, and then even if you come in, that's hard to do. So I watched between what Todd told me and what Chris did. I'm sitting there like, man, I'm just going to be on this line as long as I possibly can. And then my favorite thing to show everybody is Jack Nicklaus at the 75 Masters on the 15th. Watch the very beginning. Spot, target, spot, target. Look at this. Spot,
12 yards to the hole. And here comes
spot,
Nicklaus
target, spot,
with one of the most vital strokes
spot,
of his
target.
distinguished career.
That's cool.
Watch this again. Spot, target. Watch the spot here. This gives me the chills.
He kind of knows, doesn't
He knows. He knows.
Oh, my word!
It's physical. We can see the physical. We can't see the mental. But the mental part of that routine is when your mind is occupied with those processes, that's what your mind goes to. And so all the outside influences, whether it be the shot you want to hit, the score you want to make, the tournament you're in, whatever, those are things that can interrupt your thinking. But when you work so hard in your pre-shot routine, he's also working on his mind. He's
Absolutely.
into his target, so it keeps his focus.
Connections is not just happening in the golf swing. Connection's happening to your target.
Being able to really get everything out of your mind except where you want that ball to end up,
Yeah.
pretty important stuff.
It is, absolutely. And Todd, you tell me, I mean, for me, it's always been easier to align something within the first 3 feet rather than something 200 yards away. So I don't like something that's out there to where I have to look for it when I'm over the golf ball. I want something that definitively stands out to my eye within that first 3 feet that I'm looking at. And honestly, the closer, the better for me. I want something closer because it actually helped me swing right through that spot. It was something that just a personal thing.
Well, the reason why I say that is like, okay, if I shift to a target that's out there and I have to take my eye off the line, right? Well, then all of a sudden I'm out there and then I'm back to, well, how do I know that everything's connected? If it's in your peripheral vision, if it's in your field of vision without taking your eye off the golf ball, you know that you've got, especially in putting. I'm such a big believer in making sure, just find the start line and get the ball started where it should go, right? So the minute you start looking out to the hole or out to the flag or out to a tree, you're taking your eyes off, and what are you trying to do? You're trying to line the club face to the ball where you want the ball to start. So don't get out there in the distance.
I had made my routine be about what I was trying to accomplish, not only in my swing, but then a connection to the target. What I found was down the stretch, the last 3 holes, which at the course I was playing, were everyone had trouble on either side. And what was so neat was I was so wrapped up in what I had to do correctly that the fear of failure never entered my mind.
Yeah, you
because
didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I was so consumed with what it was that I was doing the entire time to get to where I needed to be. And one of the things that, my Uncle Glenn, the mountain climber, I called him when I was 15 years old, right before I won that big run and won all those national tournaments. And I said, Uncle Glenn, I need your help for a second. I'm coming down the stretch of these tournaments and I'm getting fearful of failure. I'm thinking about, the water on the right. And, the worst thing that could happen to me is I just blow it in the water and I got to drop. I said, the worst thing that can happen to you climbing Mount Everest on the side of those mountains is, you make one false move, you die.
Right.
How do you deal with that? And he goes, Adam, that's why I love mountain climbing. He goes, I'm so wrapped up in what my next step is, where I'm putting my hand, where I'm putting my foot, where I'm, lodging into, the anchor into the rock and putting the rope through. He goes, I'm so wrapped up in that I'm not looking down.
Right.
I'm not worried about what could happen.
And he's not looking up
And
either.
he's not looking up
in the
either.
moment.
He's in the moment.
Yeah.
And he said, that's where I went in life to completely get away from everything. And he was so attached to his process. He said it was just an incredible experience. Every shot is the most important shot I've ever hit. So we're going through routine, okay? We're back here, we're picking a spot. Kevin, you're gonna be my target, okay? I'm gonna go right towards you. I have a couple things that I'm pointing out that are kind of gateways to my golf, to you, bud. I have this divot in front of me, and I'm just looking at the right edge of this divot right here, and that's exactly where I'm gonna go as far as alignment with you. Okay, I have my left hand on the club. I'm walking in and keeping my eye on that line. My eyes are going down to that spot. Notice how I'm getting the club face down first, something Todd taught me, and then I would always work my feet into position, okay? And that's where I'm trying to keep the parallel lines there of the line that I'm aiming on and my feet. And the common thing that I've seen over the years, I typically see more than I see somebody aim left and be wide open. With their feet, they're typically right. Now with their shoulders, they're typically left. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is ball position lives from the middle of your stance to that lead shoulder. And the more that ball position works up, the more that right arm reaches, and you see that right shoulder get in front. And I always tell people, if you're praying, yeah, my shoulders are gonna be dead square if I'm praying right in the middle of my body, but watch what happens when my right arm gets on the grip. Oh, my right shoulder's already gonna go a little bit ahead of my left simply because my hand's lower on the grip. Now I'm catering a forward ball position. Uh-oh. So that's where that hip bump changed everything for me.
That's really good.
Okay, and
Let's
that's...
talk about...
At Forzak Golf, we take a lot of pride in having developed some of the best and most consistent golf swings on the planet. We do this through simplicity. Our Full Swing Masterclass will take you on a step-by-step, easy-to-understand process on how to get your golf swing better than ever. Join the many before you who've utilized our Full Swing Masterclass to take their games to the next level and beyond.